Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to episode 31 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast about two brothers who happen to enjoy talking about wrestling and video games. Both of those two things together in one place. If you like the wrestling, if you like the video games, just come here. We've got it both for you. And this is a special Survivor Series review edition episode of the podcast. We're going to be reviewing Survivor Series, NXT War Games. We're going to be talking about some debuts that happened this week. We're going to talk about a title that changed hands on Raw. And then we're going to transition over to the video games. And on the video game end, we've got more drama in the saga that is Star Wars Battlefront 2. We've got more issues with EA and microtransactions in FIFA to discuss. A new character got revealed for Dragon Ball Fighter Z. And I'm also going to raise the fact that, hey, it's Black Friday on the day that we're shooting, Cyber Monday on Monday. So make sure you get yourself some good deals on video games.
Yep.
PUBG apparently looking to go to China, or making changes for its Chinese release. And then also public test region of Overwatch
Don't
is
spoil
getting
it yet. Don't spoil
a
it.
certain thing.
Yeah,
Getting a certain thing.
That's my thing here.
That's your thing. I'm just saying, what's on the docket for the show, man. I'm just saying what's on the docket of the show. There was also one other story that I can't remember right now, but we will get into it when we're in the video games. Right now, we're going to start off by going into wrestling, and we're going to start off with
saying, hi, Felix and Big Stupid.
yeah, hello to Big Stupid and to Felix. Yes, Felix, I do remember you, of course, bud. And we are going to get into War Games. We like to go in sequential order as things happen in the week of WWE. So we're starting with War Games.
This has been such a good weekend for wrestling. I just want to point that out quickly.
Saturday was. Sunday, Survivor Series, kind of about Survivor Series. I've got my issues with it.
Alright.
I've got my issues with it.
Alright.
Yeah. Happy belated Thanksgiving, yes, to Big Stupid and to all you guys. We are filming the day after Thanksgiving.
American Thanksgiving. Happy
America.
American Thanksgiving.
Happy America Thanksgiving. Where we go ahead and we're surrounded by family, we eat, we reminisce, and completely gloss over the fact that we're, ignoring hundreds of years of abuse of Native Americans. But it's okay. It's fine.
It's okay because apparently, according to kayfabe news, Donald Trump pardoned the gobbledygooker. So,
oh, good.
Yeah,
Great.
another thing he's done wrong.
That's actually another video game thing, which we can use as a transition from wrestling to video games. We'll get into that later.
All right.
But War Games happened on Saturday.
So
the Shawn Michaels Johnny Gargano ab-off ended up not happening at the arena. It ended up being a backstage video that went on to social media, and Shawn Michaels, despite there being a fan vote, basically forfeited to Johnny Gargano.
It was weird, and honestly, I'm kind of thinking that the reason that they did this is because Shawn Michaels was thinking Johnny Gargano might not actually get anything for TakeOver, and then they're like, hey, Johnny, we're going to pair you up with Pete Dunne, and Shawn was like, well, okay, so you are doing something, never mind.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, the night started off with Cassius Ohno versus Lars Sullivan, which was a really good match. That was pretty much what I expected out of it. I expected it to be a nice competitive match for Cassius to get his stuff in, to hit him, but they're really trying to build Lars Sullivan out to be like this really freakish monster, almost like very similar to how Braun Strowman is treated on the main roster.
And similar to how they did for a little while, Bull Dempsey and Baron Corbin and people like that.
Yeah, well, not Baron Corbin. Similar. Baron Corbin was more of a guy where he hit you hard and knocked you out, and whereas with Lars Sullivan, he's just seen as like this freak, massive behemoth of a man.
Which, there is one little thing I want to point out that I have a little bit of a problem with there. He doesn't have that much of a character yet.
Not yet, but they're building it.
Yeah. No, I understand. I just kind of wish that before they put these guys in matches like this, that they work on the character a little more. But I think it is what it is.
The whole point of this match with Cassius Ohno was to start building his character, where even no matter what Cassius was hitting him with, he's the knockout artist. He's KO Cassius Ohno, and all of his shots were merely dazing Lars Sullivan.
Yeah.
They weren't taking him out. And he seems to be a smash mouth monster heel that will talk a game too, because at the end of the match, he was standing at the ramp looking back at Cassius Ohno and said, you wanted it and you got it.
That actually reminds you of something. Hey, WWE and NXT, could you do me a favor? could you maybe not call someone's finisher the freak accident? Because I know people who just got to read the results of that match and were like, what happened to Cassius Ohno? I heard it ended with him getting in a freak accident. And I'm like, no.
Is that what Lars Sullivan's actual finisher is called?
That's what they called it, is the freak accident. And I'm like, why? People who don't know any better are going to see a match of so-and-so beat so-and-so by freak accident, and they're going to be like, what happened?
This is going to sound bad, but what exactly is his finisher again? Like, I remember he won, I remember how the match went, I just cannot remember what his actual finishing maneuver is.
The best description they gave it before calling it the freak accident was a side spine buster.
A side spine buster.
It's basically he lifts him up on the one side of his body and slams them down to the mat.
Oh, yeah, that's what that is. Yes. Somebody else had that move. I think in the mid-aughts, I think had it as a signature or finisher or something, because it's kind of like a Uranage, except instead of grabbing the person up by the shoulder blades, you're basically grabbing them by the midsection. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh god, poor Cassius Ohno, because he got dumped.
Yeah,
he got dumped. My memory is coming back to me now. But anyway, you guys can't tell from the way that we were talking. Lars Sullivan won that match, but like I said, that was a really good match. I felt like they still made Cassius look good, and they did what they needed to do to build and elevate Lars Sullivan.
I personally feel like the rest of the card for that night was probably better, but that's not saying it was a bad match. It was still a good match.
Yeah, no. I completely agree. Then we went on to what I believe was in my opinion match of the night.
In my opinion, it's second match of the night.
It's match of the night for me. It's close because the other match, the match that I have as second match of the night is close. Like, I could probably go either way.
Yeah. I have to say this is probably match of the night for psychology.
Yeah. My god, was it amazing psychology-wise. That was the best psychological match WWE may have put on all year.
Yeah. And in case you don't know, because you haven't said it yet, this is Aleister Black versus the Velveteen Dream.
And good Lord, Patrick Clark, you have arrived. How far you have come from 2 years ago in Tough Enough.
Yeah, like with this whole Velveteen Dream thing, when they started it, I was not a fan. I did not think he's doing it well.
Like, it's a Prince ripoff gimmick. I didn't really feel him as the character. He didn't really feel like it was coming across naturally. But then in this match, he completely came into this character.
Not even the match. The beginning of the match. I liked the glasses because it was the circular sunglasses, but he had a third one up here.
Yep.
And then his tights. His tights had him and Aleister Black.
Of Rick Rude.
Yeah. Had him and Aleister Black like airbrushed onto his tights. It was real cool.
Popped. And I popped pretty hard when I saw that. I was like, oh, that's sick.
But that match was so good. And I love how after the match, he finally said Velveteen Dream's name. And apparently they did an interview section afterwards. There was like a WWE.com exclusive. And pretty much all he could say was, he said my name. He said my name.
It's great because, like, they both win in that. Like, it was amazing. And, like,
because the psychology wasn't the only good thing about the match itself.
The match itself was
really
amazing.
Good.
Like, that is the best wrestling I've ever seen Patrick Clark. And it shows what he is capable of.
Yeah.
And like, now before that, Velveteen Dream, I'm like, I don't know about this gimmick and like Patrick Clark as a wrestler. Like, he's always had that promise, but I've never seen it realized. And like, I don't know if he could be a main eventer in NXT or be taken seriously on the main roster. But in this match, he proved.
Oh yeah.
He can go for that NXT championship, and I would be 100% behind it. I now support Velveteen Dream, Patrick Clark as NXT champion in the future, and being on the main roster. Like, yes.
Yeah.
That match, the wrestling, the psychology, the story that was told was amazing. Yeah. And both characters won in that situation. Aleister Black won the match.
And he did a good job in the match too with psychology and everything. Like, one of my favorite parts was when he did the springboard moonsault directly into sitting in the middle of the ring, and Velveteen got in the ring and started yelling at him, and then was like, screw this, and just sat the same way as he did. And then Aleister did the whole crawling up to Velveteen that Velveteen did to him previously. Like, I loved the whole thing. It was so good.
So good. Like, I wasn't expecting much of this match because I was like, I don't know what to take because these guys are such polar opposites and it's a story that's kind of been done before.
I knew it was going to be at least decent. I didn't know it was going to be this good because, I mean, Patrick Clark, he's not bad in the ring. Aleister Black, he's good in the ring. And I was just like, all right, I haven't seen these two wrestle, and this is going to be Patrick Clark's first like big match to really showcase what he could do.
Mm-hmm.
And man, did they do a good job with it.
Yeah, and I've heard people say this before too, like, and I agree with this. I've been thinking this like for about a year now, is that what this match proves is, and I hate to say it, that a lot of wrestling fans don't know the business and don't know who can be who, because Patrick Clark was voted out very early on in Tough Enough, and ZZ, who ended up getting a contract despite losing,
he's released
plus
now.
Josh, plus Sarah, all of them have been released. None of them have made it, and Patrick Clark just had one of the best matches of the year, not just in NXT, not just in WWE. I think in wrestling this year, period, he just had one of the best matches of the year. Probably top 10, if not top 20, if not top 10 matches of the year.
I still think it's not top match because I still know what my top match of the year is. But anyway.
Well, I didn't say top match. I said one of.
But I just wanted to bring up that goddamn Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate was so good.
So, like,
but yeah,
it just goes to show that the average WWE fan, like, doesn't know what truly makes a superstar.
Yeah.
Doesn't, like, I feel like when the reason why ZZ got so far is because people felt sympathetic and saw themselves in ZZ and thought that, like, a vote for him was a vote for them. But, like, what they didn't see is that ZZ had no idea what he was getting himself into. He didn't have the drive. Josh at least had the drive. But Josh, I feel like, just didn't have the complete package, whereas Patrick did.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand is you could be good in the ring, you could be big and strong and everything, but as Patrick Clark proved last night, in order to be truly great in the ring, you have to be on your game, not just with the moves and the selling, but also with the in-ring psychology and the storytelling of a match.
Completely just giving yourself away, giving yourself to the character that you're playing and portraying. What is up to Errol, by the way, and I don't know if I agree with him, but he thinks the top match of the year in all of wrestling was a House of Horrors match. Definitely up there. Debatable, right? Debatable.
I liked it, the first part.
For what it was, I kind of liked it.
I liked the part where they were in the actual House of Horrors.
Yeah, I didn't like the end of that match, though, because, that was, again, R.I.P. poor Bray Wyatt.
R.I.P. in peace, Bray Wyatt.
Yep, yeah. R.I.P. in peace.
But anyway, let's move on. That was a good match.
Moving on to that amazing...
from that amazing match.
Exhibition. We went on... sorry about that. To... the women's four-way match, which was Peyton Royce versus Kairi Sane versus Nikki Cross versus Ember Moon, and Ember Moon finally won the NXT Women's Championship. This was a really good match from these four ladies.
Yeah,
like the NXT women just kill it every time. Just about
loved the double insane elbow from Kairi Sane.
Oh yeah,
and then the double eclipse.
A lot of people had an issue with that because apparently Peyton was laying on Nikki for longer than 3 seconds, but the ref didn't count. So some people were like, they didn't count. But at the same time, I argue, well, Kairi Sane was going to the top rope, so maybe the ref was distracted at what Kairi Sane was doing.
But not only that, hey guys, you're right. Peyton was on top of Nikki for more than 3 seconds. But I have a question for you. Was Nikki's shoulders down? Because her one shoulder was rolled over.
Was it?
Yes. That's one thing I paid attention
I didn't
to.
notice
She
that.
was kind of like a little bit cuddling Peyton. So, yeah, she was on top of her. But you can't get the 3 count if their shoulders aren't down. Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Yes, that. But yeah, that double elbow was awesome. And the double eclipse was sick. Yeah. Like, the second I saw that happen, like, the second I saw them go, I'm like, oh, please let Ember do this. I'm like, this is going to be the end. And then it happened. I'm like, yes!
And another thing that was good about the way they ended that match as well is she hit 2 people with the eclipse. And when she went to go for the pin, Kairi Sane was just about to get in the ring at 3.
Yeah.
So it shows
did make
that
it in
they
time.
could all go.
Yes, they could. Felix says that he wants Peyton Royce to win the NXT Women's Championship. I will say, Peyton Royce stepped up in this one.
Peyton Royce has always been good, but one of the main things they've been doing with her, which I think works so well, is her with Billie Kay.
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting if they did almost a lay cool kind of thing with Billie and Peyton, where they win and share the championship or something like that. That'd be interesting. Be a little different. I mean, they'd be going off of something that already happened, but it'd be interesting to see that since they have a similar kind of dynamic
Yeah, exactly.
as with Lay Cool. Unless you want to do something to where Peyton or Billy wins, and then you get Peyton versus Billy, where it tears their friendship apart because they're both basically two alpha females who are just partnered up right now because they're not on top. And then the moment one of them goes on top, it feels like, based on their characters, the other one's jealousy would drive them to betray the other.
I don't know about that, because a lot of it has been just whatever they could do to get one of them to be the champion, because the two of them are the best and they just want to share it together.
Maybe.
But, anyway, Peyton Royce would be a good champion. Kyrie Sane would be a good champion.
Nikki
Nikki
Cross
would be a good champion. All of them would be good
The women's
champions.
division, I feel like the women's division's been good with Asuka, but I feel like with this match, and probably also like this summer did a lot to build up to it, but I feel like this has been the moment that shows that the NXT women's division has recovered and is ready to move forward and be strong without the 4 horsewomen and without Asuka.
Yeah, and without some other people, but we'll get into that
Yeah,
later.
we'll get into that in a little bit. And then just another thing I would like to add is that a nice little touch at the end was the fact that Asuka was there in person,
Yeah.
and then Asuka went face because she was a heel when she left and was feuding with Ember, but came out, gave the title to Ember Moon, and raised her hand, and that was really cool. That was a nice moment.
Nice. Yeah, good times.
Yes. Then moving on, we had, this is the one match I really didn't like out of the entire
I don't understand that.
entire show, which was Andrade Cien Almas versus Drew McIntyre.
I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
Yeah, and we've got a new NXT champion, which I
Yeah.
did not expect. A lot of people are wondering, Drew McIntyre injured his bicep in this match. A lot of people are wondering if the reason why why Almas won was maybe because Drew got hurt and an audible was called in the ring, because
No.
Drew might have known how badly he was hurt.
I definitely do not think that. The way the story of that match went, as soon as they went to do that, I knew, okay, this is where Andrade is winning the match.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just saying maybe that spot was created because Drew had hurt himself.
He got hurt in that spot.
Has he come out and
Yes.
say that?
He said that. WWE medical staff had said that. It was, and even Taz, Taz, former SmackDown announcer and ECW wrestler.
I'm sorry, who?
Yeah. He, on his show, even said, like, as soon as I saw that match, I could hear, or that spot, I heard in my head the pop of his bicep, because I know you can't do that without injuring yourself. So as soon as he was doing that, trying to hold himself up with that rope, I knew he was going to get injured, and that's exactly what happened.
But anyway, it was an okay match. It felt like a little sluggish to me.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Part of the reason why is because this is one kind of match I feel like we need to have better and more of, which is a good, active manager doing a really good job as a manager.
That part of the match was good, but like it wasn't as like wrestling as I thought it was gonna be. Like it wasn't from like a technical or like fast paced. It wasn't as fast paced as maybe it wasn't the match I was fully the match I was expecting it to be.
Well, that's because you were looking for it to be a technical match, and I was looking at it the way the storyline seemed to be building, which was, this wasn't so much of a match as just these two guys trying to fight. And that's one thing that I liked about this match, was just Andrade was giving everything he could to try and win what he felt that he should have gotten a while ago.
I mean,
and just the struggle the entire time. I mean, hitting his finisher a couple times, doing the double knees in the corner, doing the double knees to the back of his head, ending up having to do the finisher on the top.
That was brutal. Like, what Andrade did to Drew was brutal, and I liked that part of the match. Like, I'm not saying that the match was bad. I was just saying that, like, it kind of underwhelmed. It didn't meet the expectations I had for it, and maybe the fact that, not that I don't feel like, Andrade hasn't busted his ass since he's been here, and he's been given a bad shake for a while. Like, I'm not entirely sold on Andrade Cien Almas as the NXT champion, just because, his character was on such a down note for a while. Then he got the manager, and then he started to build a little bit of momentum, and then he won the NXT championship. Like, I didn't feel like his character, I don't think, was like Jinder Mahal levels of rushed, but I felt like they kind of rushed his progress and path to the NXT championship and to a win a little faster. I think like maybe if they wanted him to win, maybe have him get one over on Drew in some other way, and then maybe have Drew win this match, but he's not satisfied by it, or maybe it's like a disqualification or some sort of count out where something happened to where like Andrade could have won, but we don't know for sure, but Drew still got the championship, and then have him fight for it a little longer. I feel like the trigger might have been pulled a little too soon. Not that I don't ever see Andrade of ever being an NXT champion, or do I think that Andrade never should be an NXT champion. I just feel like maybe it could have been handled better or not done so quickly.
I feel like the reason we're disagreeing so much on this is because of the fact that, I mean, I've been watching more and following NXT more than you have been.
Lately a little closer. Just over the last month or two.
Well, they've been building this, like Andrade building him up.
They've been building the character change for a while, but they haven't been building his in-ring momentum long enough. That's my point.
Ever since he's gotten I keep forgetting her name. I know her last name's Vegas. Since he got her as his manager, he has won basically every single match since then, which has been months in the making.
Yeah,
like,
but
he
this
had
happened,
a match with.
Yeah, but my point is, this has happened in between two takeovers. Like, normally when somebody gets built up to challenge for a championship, they'll normally have some sort of like victory at a takeover over somebody who's seen as a main eventer, or somebody who is also on the cusp of a main eventer.
Like Johnny Gargano.
But that was his first match under his new thing, and Johnny has not been in the main event.
That was at least his second feud with the manager, at the very least. I know he at least had a feud with No Way Jose before he even had that feud, and he didn't beat Johnny once. He beat Johnny twice in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, but I don't see Johnny I feel like Johnny's in the same position that Andrade's in. Like, I think if he had beaten somebody like Roddy Strong, if he'd beaten Roddy, like somebody who would actually like challenge for the title or was close or in the main event scene, like maybe if he had did he face or beat Hideo at all?
I know he faced Hideo. I don't remember. I think he's also faced Cassius Ohno. No offense to Cassius Ohno. Challenged for the title against Bobby Roode.
Yeah, but I don't see Cassius Ohno as a main eventer right now. Like Hideo Itami, Roderick Strong, Adam Cole, Drew McIntyre, and Eric Young. Those are the guys who I see as the main eventers on NXT.
Basically, everyone that was in War Games and the champion.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so it's also a point of, well, they want to build up this guy for the title. They're having him beat all the other people that are the next up-and-comers, and all the other people who could challenge for the title and have challenged for the title are in this other main event match where it takes 9 guys.
Yeah, but you can't have him have a match. Like, I didn't...
Like, I think he may have faced and beat Roddy Strong.
Did he?
I think he did.
Because like when I was looking at watching the packages for the rivalry, like I didn't see any footage of Andrade like beating like higher level guys that rival Drew, and to me it made me feel like he was more of like an upstart challenger than an actual legitimate threat to Drew. So when he like took Drew to the limit like this and he actually won the match, I was like, this kind of feels like it's almost out of nowhere, and Drew's title reign just started, and I wanted to see Drew. So maybe it's not so much that they didn't build Andrade, maybe they didn't market Andrade well enough in the rivalry packages to make it feel like he could legitimately win and be a legitimate threat to Drew McIntyre.
Well, I mean, the way they were kind of building it is a lot of people don't think that he is, but he's got this new fire under him, and he's been beating people and proving, listen, I can beat people. I am good in the ring and everything. And he's got this new fire. And a lot of people are like, well, Drew McIntyre just won the championship. He has been beating people. He was undefeated. And he beat Bobby Roode for the title and all that.
Yeah, and then he loses in the next takeover.
Yeah, and people expected his title reign to go longer.
Yeah, to last until WrestleMania and like battle Adam Cole in like this epic match. And now That's another thing is like it's also not so much I don't think Andrade doesn't deserve it. I feel like Drew after all the crap he's been through deserved a much longer and better first title reign in NXT. But then again, maybe the plans for Drew are to make him a 2 or maybe even the first 3-time NXT champion, and they just wanted to have this title reign go and get out of the way so that way they can give him that accomplishment. I don't know.
Or maybe even just try to move him up to the main roster again or something.
I feel like it's a little too soon for that.
I think it is, but you never know.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. It's just, I don't know. There was something about that match where, like, I kind of felt a little, like, let down and disappointed by it, but it's not that the match wasn't bad. And it's not that, like, I don't like Andrade. I am excited to see what Andrade can do with the NXT Championship. I'm sure it'll be interesting. And it's unfortunate that Drew got hurt.
Yeah.
But that's just my feelings.
With me, I thoroughly enjoyed the match. I am very happy that Andrade is the champion. I feel bad that Drew's injured. And part of the reason I'm so happy with Andrade is because, not only has it been around for a long time, but it's an unexpected, like, twist to this story they've been building where most of the time you see it, the guy wouldn't have won, but this guy has made it all the way with this new fire and this new person pushing him and finally gotten to the pinnacle. And it's something that you don't see that often, and I'm very happy with that. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought it was a good match. I thought it was a very good match. I loved how Andrade had to basically throw everything he could, and then finally, with, like, his last gasp, was able to beat Drew, because that shows that
after getting assistance from his manager like 3 times in the match, I believe.
Yeah, well, people also like The Miz, and he's constantly
getting that's not a criticism. I was just pointing out, like, he threw everything and the kitchen sink being his manager, like, multiple times. That's just me. That wasn't me, like, saying he didn't deserve it. That was just me like, emphasizing how he threw everything at Drew.
But that's one thing I liked about it, was the fact that it was a thing of he had to do everything he possibly could to finally take down this monster that people didn't think would be able to get taken down at least this soon, or that he wouldn't be able to beat.
Yeah, true.
And I like that. Mm-hmm. I'm very happy for Andrade. I enjoyed the match thoroughly.
Yes, and then before we move on to the main event, I just want to add in that Felix decided to throw in his own take where he believes that like we were talking about, Drew should have a longer title reign, but he's still happy that Andrade is the NXT champion.
That's I think how pretty much everyone feels about that. Yeah. Is Drew probably should have had a longer title reign, but I'm not that upset over Andrade winning because Andrade does deserve it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Drew's going to win the title back again whenever he's back from injury. He'll be thrown right into the main event scene. So
yeah, they might have. You never know. They might have Andrade start feuding with someone like Gargano or Aleister Black or something like that now, which I'm excited to see.
Possibly, or maybe even Velveteen Dream.
I don't think they'd do heel versus heel like that, especially after it's, hey, he did a great job, but he lost. Mm-hmm. As opposed to having the undefeated Aleister Black go up against him.
But. Yeah. Well, I feel like if you send Aleister Black into the main event for a championship, Aleister Black's got to win that match. But anyway, let's move on from NXT title talk to the main event of War Games, which was the War Games match itself, the namesake match of Sanity versus Undisputed Era versus Authors of Pain and Roderick Strong. Roddy Strong coming out in the AOP gear, which I dug. I liked it.
Yeah, it was
really cool. This match, to me, was the second best match of the night by like a hair. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. Like, I can't talk enough about how great it was. It was amazing to see, like, War Games brought back, even if the rules were different. It worked out well. And there's nothing bad I can really say about this match. And before we go on talking about the match itself and the winners, I just want to say a shout out to Alexander Wolf for being a boss.
Yeah.
And after slicing his head open pretty nastily on that superplex through the 2 tables that he did.
German superplex.
Oh yeah, the German superplex through the 2 tables. He had the doctor stitch him up as best they could on the side of the ring, and then he went in and he was involved in the finish.
Yeah.
So he made sure he was patched up and did the finish.
Yeah. And he also did a very good job in that match.
Yes,
like,
he
when
did.
he first got in
in
that
match.
Yeah, he was taking it down, and I was like, yes, finally showcasing what Alexander Wolf can do. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I really like him, and I'm glad they're finally showcasing what he can do.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that match was awesome. I loved the spot where Killian Dane was launching everybody from one ring to the other.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Because I love how there's also the one point where I believe it was Authors of Pain were doing a similar thing,
Mhm.
and then they were like, "Hey, Roddy, come here," and then they just threw their teammate
I
into
think that's what I
everyone
was
else.
talking about.
Yeah.
When they back body dropped Eric Young across there.
Yep.
Who else they chucked somebody across it? Was it Adam Cole? I think they chucked
Yeah.
Adam Cole onto Bobby Fish.
Yeah, they chucked Bobby Fish onto Adam Cole because Adam Cole was lying in the ring and they just threw him and he just landed right on him and he was like, "No!"
Yeah,
why?"
I was like, that was unfortunate.
It was,
and he landed on his shoulder too. I was like, oh god,
Yeah.
I hope that didn't end. That didn't like hurt him.
I have to point out I absolutely love the spot of the double Tower of Doom and then
Yeah,
Adam Cole.
Adam Cole's just like Adam Cole, baby. Just sitting there like, yeah, I made out. I look screwed, but I made out of this perfectly well.
It was so good.
Oh god, when Roddy Strong took the finisher from Undisputed Era,
Yeah.
that was freaking gross.
Yeah.
That was so gross. I was like, is the match over already? Because that was their finisher.
Yeah.
But they like just sold that they were exhausted, and god, that was awesome.
Well, if I remember correctly, I think that was before, because Undisputed Era were the first ones in the ring. I think that was before Sanity was allowed in the ring, so a pinfall couldn't take place anyway.
And by the way, speaking of Roddy Strong, what about all those backbreakers he broke out when he had that one run?
He's the messiah of the backbreaker.
God damn, but he was like able to get Killian Dane up for one, for one too, and that was impressive as hell. Like some of those backbreakers he's pulling off, like how'd you do that? Like how'd you? Like I didn't know you could turn that into a backbreaker, but you did it, Roddy.
Yeah, that's Roderick Strong.
And then of course a big superplex and everybody off the cage was gross.
Yeah.
Just awesome, and the finish was cool too.
Yeah.
I liked the finish where Adam Cole was getting ready to super kick Aaron Young, and Aaron Young like had the chair, tried to get it up in time, but just ate it right in the face. Oh man,
the match was so good, and one of the things that I loved about this is literally everyone looked spectacular.
Yeah, not a single person looked bad in that match.
9 people looked really good in a match. It's hard to make 2 people look good in a match sometimes. You made 9 people look
and I will
phenomenal.
say it, I feel like this match was also a turning point in the careers for the Authors of Pain.
Yeah,
because I think they might have finally gotten over, like they did with me, like respect wise and wrestling ability wise, and they did not seem green anymore in this match. Like in previous matches, they still seemed like they were a little green. And everything, but I feel like this cemented that, you know, they know what they're doing. They are vets now. That and the crowd is accepting them, and you can take them in now as like ass kicking faces. Yes. Whereas when they first made that pseudo turn when Undisputed Era came out and beat them up, it was kind of like, I don't know. Yeah. But now I think this match plus being paired with Roddy Strong has done wonders for them.
Yeah. And one thing I want to point out before we move on from TakeOver is, Bobby Fish doing the moonsault was pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
Before we move on to Survivor Series, I want to point out a match that did take place that night, but wasn't shown till Wednesday, was Pete Dunne versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT title.
I still need to watch that.
Yeah, if you guys at home haven't watched it, go watch it. It was real good. It wasn't a long match, but it was really good for the short match that it was.
I mean, look at the 2 people in that match. It goes without saying that it was an amazing match, but go watch it. I gotta go watch it.
One thing I find funny is Pete Dunne, you know how old he was when he started training?
Was he really young or really old? Because I can't tell from the way you're saying. Young? Wasn't he like 12 or 13?
He was 13 when he started training, and he had his first match when he was 14, and he just 9 days before the match turned 24. So he is a 10-year veteran at 24 years of age, and Johnny Gargano started training at the age of 16.
And isn't 24 the year where Randy Orton won the world title also?
23.
23. I thought it was 23 or 24.
Yeah. But man, that was so good. And that reminds me, hey guys, how did you like the fact that you had Team SmackDown on Sunday where the youngest member was Randy Orton?
Right? Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's it for War Games. I think that may have been the best takeover of the year. One of the best, what was the name of the one that had Dunn versus Bate? Because I remember that one being really good. Because that was the one that closed out with Ciampa turning on Gargano.
Chicago.
Yeah.
NXT should take over.
I think
Chicago.
that or Takeover Chicago are the best shows put on. If
This year.
Definitely by NXT this year, potentially NXT and WWE this year.
Yeah, because I mean that also did have, what was it, Gargano and Ciampa DIY versus
That's what I said when
Authors of
Gargano turned on Ciampa.
Pain? Yeah, no, but I'm trying to remember the match itself.
Yeah, DIY versus.
I think it was just them. It may have been them and
It was DIY versus the Authors of Pain
in a ladder match.
And was it a ladder match or a TLC match?
A ladder match. I remember that now. Yeah. Because that match also was really good.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I was trying to remember. Because not only was there the attack, but the match I had beforehand was good. And I was surprised they still had the energy to do that afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah. It was good. Let's go on to another show that I thought was really good. Personally.
Well, that's it for War Games. So now we're moving on to Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
The first match that we're going to talk about, actually, let's talk about two matches that happened that were not announced, that were on the pre-show, the kickoff. And that was Matt Hardy versus Elias, with Elias winning.
I'm not surprised. Matt Hardy, the main reason they have him around is to team with Jeff, and Jeff's not around right now.
I know, but the fact that, like, Matt was last year, like, as of last year, Matt Hardy was such a hot commodity that, like, I felt like he could challenge for the WWE Championship, or at least a mid-card championship.
Well, they need to go full into his gimmick.
I guess, but I'm just like, if you have him lose to Elias, like, how is that going to help his momentum when Jeff does come back? Like, you're kind of hurting his draw ability and the excitement around him and the fact that he's back if you're having him lose to guys like Elias.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, this is also Matt Hardy, and you know that they could always just do like, all right, Matt, because they were planning on having them break into singles runs anyway, and starting it off with Matt versus Jeff. So they could easily be like, all right, Matt, you're back. You guys go, and then Matt, you're going to turn on Jeff because whatever reason, and then go from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, with these two guys, they've been around a while. Everyone knows their name. Even though it kind of hurts them for now, they could easily bring the Hardys back.
I guess. I just don't like seeing Matt Hardy, because it just brings back memories of the end of Matt Hardy's last run with WWE, and it's just like, I don't like seeing WWE treat Matt Hardy like that. So
yeah.
Then the second match we had on kickoff, which actually was on our predictions list, was Enzo Amore versus Kalisto for the Cruiserweight Championship, which was a good match. It was good.
Okay. I didn't.
And I mean, I watched it just now before we went live, and it was a good match. Kalisto and Enzo, I think they have a decent rivalry going on. Enzo continues to be hot as a heel for the Cruiserweight division. So
Enzo's basically the heart and soul of 205 Live.
Yeah, that's what he's become. And, like, Enzo won, that's what it should be. So yeah, that's nothing really else to talk about there.
Yeah.
The third match that was on the kickoff was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Breezango. It was an alright match. The people you think should win, they won. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And then we went into the match proper. And then we're going to go into then we're going to go into Survivor Series proper. And the first match, which was so good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. The Shield versus the New Day.
It was so good.
This might be I think this was match of the night for me.
I don't know if it was match of the night for me, but it was definitely up there because I think there were so many matches that were real good this night.
Yeah. I'm looking over the card right now. I feel like there were probably 3 or 4 matches here that I really liked.
Let me see. That was okay. That one I liked the end of. That one was surprisingly good. Really like that. Really like that. Really like that. Really like that.
All right. Well, we'll talk about everything later. But
yeah.
right now, Shield versus the New Day. That was everything.
That was everything it needed to be.
Everything it needed to be. That was everything I wanted it to be. It was really freaking good. Those two teams. I would love to see those two teams go to war again in the future.
Oh yeah.
Probably won't happen because one member of the Shield will probably turn on the others before WrestleMania.
Unfortunately, can't you just?
But I'm glad we at least got this, and the Shield had to win this because the Shield, they are the more they have each one of their members, not only they worked well as a unit, but each one of them went on to become a WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
They are both main eventers. They will be main eventers for a long, long time. Not that I don't think Big E can eventually become a main eventer. Not that I wouldn't love to see Kofi Kingston in there. Hell, I would love to see Austin Xavier move up there. But right now, based on where each one of their careers are, I feel like the Shield had to win. I feel like the Shield is the more legendary trio, even though we're talking about two serious, like, no doubt about it, Hall of Fame trios.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you got to go with the Shield over the New Day.
Yeah,
the New Day did not, and it's not like the New Day were made to look weak here. Like,
they got
took so many false finishes, plus E and Xavier both took finishers on the outside of the ring, which led to, or was it? Yeah, it was E. It was E and Xavier got taken out on the outside in order for Kofi to get power bombed. Correct.
So yeah.
And it took a avalanche triple power bomb to put them down.
Yeah, and it's also a matter of they got beat by a team that beat Evolution in an elimination match in a clean sweep
after beating them in a match before that, a month before that. Yeah,
but they
beat Evolution so hard that Batista went.
Yeah, Batista's like,
bye bye,
right, peace.
I'm out of here.
Yeah. But yeah, they beat 3 like shoe-in Hall of Famers clean sweep. You think that these guys aren't gonna beat the New Day? I mean, the New Day put up a hell of a fight as they deserve
to be fair, the New Day are also shoe-in Hall of Famers.
No, I agree, but I'm saying unfortunately, as you point out, no one on New Day has even held the WWE Championship once.
Yeah.
And everyone except for Dean Ambrose on the Shield is a multiple-time WWE champion.
And Ambrose once.
Is a one-time. And Dean Ambrose is a Grand Slam champion. He's held the tag titles. He's held the Intercontinental title. He's held the U.S. title.
And
he's held the WWE
still
title.
the longest reigning United States champion?
Yes, he's also still the longest reigning United States champion in modern history. Because I think the only longer reign was Lex Luger in WCW held it for longer, but that's the only other title reign that's longer than his. He's the longest in WWE history.
Okay. So yeah, that was a great match. That was an amazing way to start off Survivor Series. Had me pumped, but things didn't work out too great after that. Then I believe we had the Women's Survivor Series match.
Which I missed the beginning of.
Pissed me off because they had the 5th person to be TBA for SmackDown, and it just ended up being Natalya.
They had announced it earlier.
Yeah, last
I
checked,
Friday or Saturday, they had announced it on social media and stuff.
Yeah, but still, it's like, you should have just had Natalya be there. Like we're gonna talk about that later. What Felix just said. But like, why not just say, okay, Natty, you lost the title, so you're getting Charlotte's place, instead of leaving it a mystery and making people think that it might be somebody else.
I don't know.
It upset me because if I knew it was Natalya, I would have picked Team Raw hands down.
No, you were gonna pick Team Raw once you found out that Asuka was
in there.
Raw,
like, Asuka's not losing, crap. And then sure enough, Asuka was down 3-1 and beat 3 people. It was 2. Alicia. Who was it? It was
She eliminated 3 people, but when it was down to 1, it was her against
Carmella and Natty, right?
Tamina and Natty. She had eliminated Carmella earlier in the match, but the final 3 were Tamina, Natty, and Asuka.
I mean, I wasn't crazy about this match. I didn't really like it.
I liked what it did for Asuka.
I mean, yeah, it made Asuka look good, but it was kind of like, I felt like it was a bit of a mess. Yeah. And it's also so weird to see, like, one of the things that bothers me sometimes about some of these, like, Survivor Series matches or some of these, like, brand versus brand matches, that all of a sudden certain wrestlers completely forget their, like, brutal, deeply hated rivalries from, like, a couple weeks beforehand just because they're on the same show. Like how Sasha and Alicia are like, okay, we're good now. And, like, Alexa with almost everybody was like, yeah, we're good now because we're on Raw. Or no, well, Alexa was... That was the backstage stuff with Charlotte on Raw the week before. And it's like, but you still kind of hate each other.
Do I need to remind you of one time when Triple H was a Survivor Series team captain? I don't remember everyone who was on the team, but I remember he was talking about how he's a team captain and we need to go out there and we need to work together and we need to win. and everyone started coming up with complaints to him about things that he's done to wrong them in the past. He's like, no, I understand that, and I'm sorry, but we need to get on with this. And then the last person to say anything was his teammate Kane, who came up to him and said, you dressed up like me and videotaped it to make it look like I had sex with my dead girlfriend in the funeral home. And he looked at him and goes, yeah, okay, I may have gone a little too far with that one. And he somehow worked all these people that he's had huge rivalries with to work together just for one night.
But the thing is, they had a promo to address all of that.
That's true.
That's my problem with the women's match is that they never had a promo to really address all of this. All of a sudden, they were all like aligned and in unison and like unified.
Yeah, but I mean, it also doesn't hurt the idea that the first week after that, like Sasha and Alicia had their blow off match. That next night, these women came in and assaulted them and took them out. Yeah. So it was kind of like we don't like each other, but these guys got us in the back when we weren't looking and took us out. We need to get back.
Yeah, but still, like,
it's not a great. But I'm saying there's a little.
There's a difference between we have to work together to beat these guys, and we're on the same brand, so now we're best friends.
Yeah, that's not really how it went, but okay.
That's how I saw it as.
I thought it was different, especially with the little promo they did with Stephanie, how she was just trying to amp up the team, being like, we have to beat them, and focusing on everyone individually.
Yeah, but they were all like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. There wasn't like, you couldn't sense any bit of past tension between those women.
All right.
That was my issue. But yeah, the match itself was kind of,
Like I said, I liked what it did for Asuka.
Yeah.
Asuka shined really well in that match. But that's about it.
Moving on, we had The Miz versus Baron Corbin. U.S. champion versus Intercontinental champion, which I liked. It was good.
I thought it was okay.
It was good. I liked it.
There were good parts to it. I just was a little upset that, a lot of the story was, them going back and forth over social media and Baron Corbin, like, saying stuff about Miz's wife and his kid and everything, and Miz being like, I'm gonna kick your effing teeth down your throat.
I like that.
And then Miz didn't win.
Well, that happens sometimes in wrestling. The good guy doesn't always win, and this isn't WrestleMania. But
I'm saying, like, the ending was kind of, like, anticlimactic for that whole big bit.
I don't know. Like, it happens in wrestling. Like, the guy who's defending his family doesn't always win.
I understand that. I've seen Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero and everything.
And I think that, like, that match, for what it was great. And the whole social media stuff, it was in line with their characters. And it also let Miz be a little sympathetic and showed signs that, like, he could probably be a good face. Like, potential, like, I know that, like, it's like, no, Miz works best as a heel, keep him in heel land. But, like, this showed that, like, Miz, when he has somebody to be angry at.
And he can be intense.
And he can be animated and intense. He can be a good face.
Yeah.
Because he was the face of that match against Baron Corbin, no doubt about it. And the story they told in that went right into who Baron Corbin is as a person. He's like, I don't give a crap about you or your family or anything. I'm just here to kick the crap out of people and win matches.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought I expected more out of that match, I guess.
But
like I said, the end of the match I thought was kind of because it was Miz went to do his clothesline in the corner, and Corbin was like, oh, by the way, end of day's pin. So that kind of made me be like, I thought the match was going to go a little longer, especially since the show didn't last a full 4 hours overall. I was like, they could have gone on a little longer, had a little bit more false finish or something like that. It was good for what it was, but I was just expecting a little bit more out of the match.
I guess.
I was expecting a little bit more intensity out of the Miz. I mean, he was intense, but I was expecting more after everything with the social media and all that. But
maybe.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's it for that match. Then we rolled on to, what was it? Was it the Bar versus the Usos or Alexa versus Charlotte after that?
I believe it was Bar versus Usos.
Yeah, it was the Bar versus the Usos, which was a good match.
Oh, yeah.
Very good match. Very entertaining. And the Usos won.
As I expected, and I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
They deserved it.
I mean, like, I love what Sheamus and Cesaro have done over the past year. They've become a great, amazing tag team.
Oh, yeah.
But the Usos are the Usos. Like, the Usos are just one of the greatest tag teams of all time, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. I'm going to say they're at least one of the best, if not the best tag team of today.
Oh, yeah. I would argue that the New Day is better by a little bit.
I'd say they're on
today.
even playing field, personally. Because, I
That's
mean,
fair.
New Day
fair.
has a bit of the advantage of they have 3 guys.
That's fair. Yeah, that was an entertaining match. It was good. Usos got the win.
Although, there is one thing that happened right after that, which I loved.
What was that?
Scott Dawson took to Twitter and said, if that were us, we would have beaten the Usos. And I'm like, but you're gone.
Maybe wait until you guys can stay healthy for more than 2 months.
Yeah. I'm so upset by that because the Revival was so good, and I'm so excited for them to come back.
I hope when they're healthy and they come back that they'll be able to have that momentum still. Yeah. That, like, these injuries haven't killed it for them, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on after that, we had Alexa versus Charlotte, which was an okay match.
It was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I mean, they had some miscues and everything, but it was a pretty good match. Yeah. I liked it. It was good.
Part of the reason I liked it is because a lot of what Alexa's title reign has been about is capitalizing on mistakes and using some underhanded tactics like slamming people into the bottom turnbuckle to get a win and things like that. And this match actually showed, well, Alexa, if need be, can go.
Yeah. Well, wasn't Alexa targeting either the shoulder or knee of Charlotte in this match? Sorry. Am I remembering correctly? You shut your mouth, Echo.
I don't know. I know in the last pay-per-view, Natty did that to Charlotte where she targeted her leg. I don't remember if Alexa did that in this match or not.
I might be misremembering, but anyway, match ended with Charlotte getting the figure 8 deeply sunk into Alexa, and Alexa in the middle of the ring couldn't do anything about it, had to tap out.
Yeah.
So,
and it was real good.
Yes, it was a good match. Then we're gonna move on to if the Shield versus the New Day was a match of the night. This probably was.
Oh, yeah.
Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles. The dream match we've been wanting for years and years finally happened.
Mm-hmm. And AJ took it to Brock.
Oh, my God. Man. Was it great. Was it great. Because, like, it started out with Brock, being Brock, just chucking people around the ring. And good Lord, props to AJ Styles. He just went all out with it. Yeah. He was like, oh, you want to toss me like a ragdoll? I will ragdoll the out of this and just fly all over the place.
But that's one thing that the announcers point out, which I knew this is how the match was going to start and knew this is how it's going to go. And they explained it perfectly. This is how we expected this match to start. And the way that AJ has a chance is he has to weather this initial storm, and once he has a chance to get an attack, that's when the real match is going to get. Yeah, and that's what happened. He had to weather the storm of Brock Lesnar, and then when he finally got a chance to take it to Brock, he took control and did a great job. Good Lord,
did Brock take some brutal kicks and strikes.
Oh, yeah.
Like that, what was it, that one Enziguri? Where, like, Brock was bent over, and, like, and what was it? Like, wasn't AJ on the ground, and he, like, nipped up or something and went to the, or was bent over himself and went to the Enziguri or something?
Something like that.
It was, like, a really athletic Enziguri, and it caught him square across the back of the neck, and it was brutal.
And then there was also when Brock was, like, bent over trying to get up, and AJ hit the Pele kick on him.
Yeah.
God, it's so good.
Oh,
and
man.
All the forearms, and he did the springboard 450.
Yeah, perfectly landed it. Like, in air, he was a little crooked, but he landed it square across the chest of Brock.
Yeah.
The only complaint I have about this match is that
it didn't last long enough. It should have gone forever and ever.
No,
and ever.
I feel like maybe I'm okay with it with Samoa Joe and Braun, but I feel like AJ's been around long enough and has enough of a legacy. I feel like he's on equal footing as Brock, so he shouldn't have had to throw like 4 or 5 forearms if it meant that he was going to be taken out by one F5.
Well, to be fair, he threw, you could argue, at best, 3 phenomenal forearms. One was him, like, throwing himself over the top to the outside of the ring. One was off the steps on the outside of the ring. And then one was a legitimate one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, also, as Big Super pointed out, the calf crusher.
Oh my God, that was awesome. So that spot was amazing. Like, that's exactly how it should have gone. Like, he was selling it, and the second AJ got close enough, I'm like, Brock's just gonna grab him and just start smashing the crap out of him. And he did. Holy hell, did he
I believe it was Corey Graves either Corey Graves or Byron Saxton said, "Man, Lesnar just dribbled AJ's head like a basketball."
Yep.
And that's exactly what it was. Good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I do agree with Big Stupid on how AJ did take a beating and made it look legit, and by the end he made it believable that like he might actually win the match, even though he never was going to. And I don't think it was so much a Raw versus SmackDown thing because like Raw needed to catch up to SmackDown, which made it a little more obvious. But I think it was also more of a we know Lesnar is not going to lose until WrestleMania.
Yeah, but I know one thing that was really cool was after the match. Did you see Paul Heyman's promo?
No, I did not.
He did a little shoot promo in the back in which he basically said that was the greatest match I've ever seen. And he started off by saying, like, I've been a fan of AJ Styles way back to when I was told I'm not allowed to watch AJ Styles. I've been a huge fan of him. He is a master at his craft. They call him phenomenal for a reason. And he is, in my opinion, the greatest superstar in the history of this business.
Was this
and
like an actual promo or just him talking about
it was like a little bit of half and half. Because a lot of it was him going like, he is the best wrestler I've ever seen in my life, and I have been in this business my entire life. He is on the same level, if not better, as the likes of Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, and Ric Flair. He is the greatest superstar I've ever seen, and the fact that I got to see him in the best seat in the house in a match against Brock Lesnar, it is one of the greatest matches I have ever seen and solidifies that AJ Styles is easily the greatest superstar I have ever seen.
Yes.
And just like going on about how amazing Paul Heyman thinks AJ Styles is. And I loved it.
And it was amazing. That's kind of why I was upset that AJ went down to 1 F5. I feel like it should have taken 2.
Yeah. I mean, he did take a hell of a beating. And it was like a kind of, he escaped out of a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
But.
And I will say, though, that F5 and that finish was exactly how I expected the match to end.
Yeah.
AJ goes for a phenomenal forearm. Brock catches him on his shoulders. F5. And you know what I did really like about this match is the fact that Brock Lesnar didn't walk away from this win. He limped away.
Yep.
Because of the work on his knee that AJ did during the match and the calf crusher.
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved that Brock basically had to limp away from the match and not walk away like standing tall as he normally does. He literally had to like limp away on one leg.
And another thing I liked about it was the fact that when you look at it, most of Brock's matches after he wins a match, you'll see him walking away and he'll do like his whole look back at the ring and he'll like smile or whatever. This match, he looked back at AJ and he was like, all right. And you could tell, like, I respect you. You did you did better than I thought you would. And that's one thing I liked is, as opposed to just, like, looking back and I'm like, all right, I knew it. It was that was closer than I thought kind of thing. And I really like that.
Yeah. And Big Stupid mentioned this, and I'm in agreement with this. This is what I think. This is what I feel. This is what I felt after the Strowman match. This is definitely what I feel now after AJ, which I don't really agree with because it's only gonna piss more people off against Roman. Because I feel like it's only gonna build heat for Roman because people are gonna feel like Roman didn't earn it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it's believed that Vince and creative do not want anybody to kick out of the F5 to make the F5 seem super strong. So that way at Mania when Roman does it, which he's already done it before, so like I don't see what the point is of doing it now. Is that like it makes Roman look that much stronger.
Yeah.
And to be honest, doing it that way is only going to get Roman booed.
Yeah.
Like if you want Roman to not get booed, have AJ Styles kick out of the F5.
Have Braun Strowman kick out of the F5. Have someone do it.
Yeah. So when Roman does it once, he's not the only person to do it. Then maybe if he does it 2 or 3 times, then that's okay. Because he's not the only one to kick out of it, but he's being more resilient than others.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you guys haven't done enough with Roman Reigns and John Cena, where he kicked out of, 3 or 4 F5?
Yeah, it's like, attitude adjustments, AAs.
Attitude adjustments. Yeah, but other than that, AAs. And I think one of them was from the second rope, right?
An avalanche, yeah.
An avalanche one. And then there was also, he got hit with one, Cena did his little roll-through thing, and hit him with a second one, and he still kicked out of that. I think you're going to be okay if you let a couple other people kick out of the F5 after Roman has done that.
To be honest with you, it's like, I want Roman to get cheered. But when you do crap like this, nobody wants to see a Boy Scout Superman kind of thing, like, because wrestling fans are smart enough now that they know that that's storytelling, that it's not like,
it's not impressive at that point.
Yeah, and it's like, you give Roman, who, no offense to Roman, like, Roman is Roman, and I like him, and he deserves to be in the main event, he deserves to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion, but it's like, you've shoved him down these people's throats. You've had a main event the last 3 WrestleManias before this, and we've seen him, like, get the John Cena sort of treatment, so, like, we want to see him treated on equal ground with people like AJ Styles, because it looks like you're insulting AJ Styles or these guys who should be on equal footing as him by giving him this honor. And people are if you're trying to get people to turn around and change their mind on Roman, you don't keep doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. You gotta treat him like you treat AJ Styles and stuff like that, like Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Because then it screams creative favoritism, and fans hate creative favoritism. They can smell it like sharks smell blood in the water, and they will pounce. And they will turn on whoever that person is.
Yeah. And also, the thing that bothers me more about it is the fact of, at that point, that's just kind of lazy storytelling.
Yeah. It's like, and it's something that's been being done since the 70s and 80s, and it's an old shtick, and a lot of people, I think, feel like wrestling's grown out of that nowadays.
Yeah. And it's also a matter of, people know it's scripted, but I mean, you're trying with this strategy to engineer a surprise as opposed to just letting it naturally happen.
Yeah. And like everybody knows it's coming.
Yeah, if you're designing something to be a surprise, guess what? Usually it's not going to be a surprise.
Yeah, it just reads to me as something that's going to backfire on Roman. And I hate it because Roman's been through enough. Like, he doesn't need any more of this crap that's like guaranteed to fail and backfire and get people to hate him.
Yeah.
Like, we should be past this with him.
Exactly.
And people should just be able to accept him and be able to, like, cheer him and treat him as a superstar that he is, instead of, like, being given reasons to hate him.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a hell of a match.
I'm off my soapbox on that. I'll step down. We'll move on now to the main event, which was the traditional Survival Series match of Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. And I was not really a fan of this match. I didn't like it.
I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
I did not like the match, especially the end.
The end I thought was a little weird.
I hated the ending,
but I was okay with it.
You want to know why I didn't like this match? And like, I saw a video about this on What Culture, and it perfectly like captured my feelings about the match. A lot of the newer stars they were trying to build up, almost with exception to Braun Strowman, kind of got buried here.
I wouldn't say they got buried.
Shinsuke and Bobby Roode got eliminated one after another in like the first 5 minutes of the match.
By a guy who tipped over an ambulance. And got put in the back of a garbage truck and survived.
Still, maybe that should have been the end of the match. I don't like a lot of people were like I don't want to see not that I don't like watching Shane and Kurt Angle and Triple H wrestle, but if you've got like Shinsuke Nakamura and Bobby Roode and Braun Strowman. Yes, Braun Strowman was there in the end, but he did practically nothing until after the match was over. Mm-hmm. You've got those guys. I'm trying to think who else was on Team Raw, because I know that there were some other guys who were on Team Raw. It was
Angle, Triple H, Strowman, Joe,
You've got
and Balor.
You've got Balor. You've got Joe. You've got Nakamura. You've got Roode. You've got Strowman. And like, none of them really did anything that made them look super strong. They had some cool little matchups, but none of them ended up looking strong because they weren't involved in the finish, in the end. The end ended up being this whole corporate drama that nobody really cares about to act as a vehicle of Angle versus Triple H, which, to be honest, could have happened at any other moment in the match. Didn't have to happen when it did.
But the reason it did when it did is because, as I like to point out, Triple H is the cerebral assassin. He's a master of mind games.
Oh, master of mind games with a turn that everybody expected. I saw that coming. I was like, watch him hit a pedigree on Angle, because I was like, I knew it was going to happen. I'm like, he's going to hit a pedigree on Angle because they're having their issues. and then let him get eliminated. Then he's going to do a pedigree on Shane because it's all about Triple H's ego, and it's like, it's not about SmackDown versus Raw, it's about the WWE, and I run the WWE. Nobody's above me.
To me, I saw it more as Shane's a guy who's not going to give up. And he, like, the way I was looking at it is, I feel like Triple H did it for a couple reasons. One, he's not necessarily on the best page with Shane, but him and Shane have always had the kind of relationship with, Stephanie involved where it's like, Stephanie Young, Shane, you need to knock this off. Triple H is going to kill you, blah, blah, blah. And Triple H is like, Shane, I'm going to give you a chance. After that, I'm going to go after you, but I'm going to give you a chance. And it was the kind of thing of, I saw it as, Shane isn't going to give up, and Triple H is kind of like, well, I don't want to see him get his ankle broken. And I've had these issues with Angle, so he takes him out, and then, I still need to win the match.
No, with me, with the way that the Triple H character has been to me over the last few years, is that Triple H is all about ego. And Triple H is all about, I'm the one who's in control of everything. I will treat you well so long as you accept that and are content with that. But the moment you cross me, or challenge my authority, or act like you're bigger than me, I will put you down because my ego demands it. And that's the way that the match came across to me. And those turns came across. And I hated it. I liked that Braun Strowman, did stuff. Because maybe we'll get Braun Strowman versus Triple H at Royal Rumble, which would be cool.
Nope.
Okay, screw that.
The plan, from what I've heard, is basically Triple H versus Kurt Angle at Royal Rumble, and then Triple H versus Braun Strowman at WrestleMania.
We're not going to get Kurt versus Triple H at WrestleMania?
The story right now, from what I've heard, is they're doing Triple H versus Angle slated for Royal Rumble.
It's another reason why I don't like this.
Well, at the same time, I want to point out,
I'm fine with these guys having matches at WrestleMania and being involved in stuff, but they shouldn't be I don't want them to be the focus of, the main focus or the ending focus of pay-per-views. I want to see the newer guys do things and do stuff.
So do I. But it's also a matter of, we've got people like Brock Lesnar as Universal Champion. We're not going to be seeing that for a long time.
I don't know.
I thought it was okay.
I didn't like the Survivor Series match.
We had
some cool moments and some cool pairings, but from a booking standpoint, I feel like this did nothing to build up the guys that they've been trying to build up, who are supposed to be the newer stars of the future, and all they did was promote angles with Triple H and Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon.
Yeah, well, I mean, with that same logic, you should see things like the up-and-coming AJ Styles compared to Brock Lesnar going over Brock Lesnar.
That's different because AJ Styles came within a ball, I'll screw it, I'll say it. Came within a ball's hair of beating Brock Lesnar, and he looked strong, and he took a beating, and Brock Lesnar had to limp away from winning. AJ Styles looks strong in defeat. These guys look like crap in defeat.
I don't think so. Because they did good from when they were in the match, and then it was, in regards to Shinsuke and Bobby Roode, they got taken out by Braun Strowman. And it wasn't Braun Strowman comes in and immediately eliminates them. Yes, it was one after the other, but it was, he came in, he fought with Shinsuke a little bit, then beat him, and then Bobby came in, attacked him from behind. He had to try and get his hands on Bobby for a while, and then hit him with his finisher. And once again, it's a matter of, Braun Strowman has been put on a different level than most other superstars. Like it or not, that's where Braun Strowman is, where he is this giant monster, similar to how they're building people like Lars Sullivan in NXT. He is this unstoppable monster in which when he hits his finisher on you, you stay down.
Shinsuke was also supposed to be built up to be something incredible, and then they had him, and now they've had, and you want to do Shinsuke versus AJ, they really got to course correct to make his character strong, because he is now lost to Jinder for the title, to Jinder,
yeah,
and then he got decimated by Braun Strowman.
Yeah, but
not that I'm not knocking Braun Strowman as a monster, but this is again the thing. This is the same problem that I have with the whole saving the F5 for Roman thing. It's in the fans' mind, these guys are equal. Shinsuke is a guy who should be able to take Braun to his limits, much like AJ took Brock to his limits, and they didn't do that.
But the thing is, with the way they've
And
been
so it hurt
building,
Shinsuke.
I
Sorry.
don't think it hurt Shinsuke that. I think what hurt Shinsuke was losing to Jinder Mahal. Because if he can't beat someone like Jinder Mahal, how can you expect him to beat someone like Braun Strowman? That's the way I was viewing it. Yes, him and Bobby got taken out rather quickly, but it's these guys are those two were the two newest members of the main roster. They are the least experienced on the main roster, and they were thrown up against a monster like Braun Strowman. And if Shinsuke has not yet been able to beat Jinder Mahal, why should Shinsuke be able to beat Braun Strowman?
He should be able to put up a... I didn't say he should beat Braun Strowman. I said he should be able to put up a fight against Braun Strowman. Him and Bobby Roode did not put up a fight against Braun
But
Strowman.
they did.
And
you were
Finn
just focused
Balor
on
didn't
how
really do
short
anything
it
either.
was.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. It left a sour taste in my mouth for what was at the end of what was for the most part a very good weekend of wrestling.
I thought it was good. I liked the way the match itself went. I liked all the pair-ups you had. I did not, like I said, because of the fact that the main thing you're harping on is the fact that Braun Strowman eliminated two guys when Braun Strowman has been built up to be this giant monster where it takes
it's
a
not so
hell
much
of a
that.
lot
No, it's
to
not
take
so
him
much.
down.
It's not so much that Braun Strowman took out two guys. It's how quickly he took them out. It was who they were, what they were trying to build them up to, and the fact that there were guys on the other side like Joe and Balor who also got taken out almost unceremoniously and quickly. And early on in the match, and really weren't a part. And the part that none of these four guys were involved in the end game, and even Strowman, who was one of the final survivors, had nothing to do with the finish.
Yeah,
That's my big problem with the match, is that the younger guys, or the not so much the younger guys, but the guys who are newer in the scene and are expected to be major players, like over the next few years, got overshadowed by some part timers.
yeah, but at the same time, the way I also view it is, some of them are part-timers, yeah, but it's also, look at who's at the end of the match. Other than, Braun Strowman, who's still an up-and-coming guy, and as you said, didn't do much in the match, and the last person on Team SmackDown, Shane McMahon, in which he's a hell of a name, but he hasn't done much. You had Kurt Angle, a WWE Hall of Famer, multiple-time WWE champion. You had Triple H, a 14-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion, has done everything he can in this business. You've had Randy Orton, who's a 13-time World Champion. You had John Cena, who is a 16-time champion.
That's exactly my problem, though. You have these guys who have been around forever and a day, and no offense, not that I don't want to see them. I still find them entertaining, but I don't want them being, at the end of pay-per-views. That would be like if after it kind of feels like to me almost like Hogan in his return to WWE, like when he won the championship again, and then like when if after that championship run he was still main eventing pay-per-views at the end of pay-per-views. It's like, it's not that I don't enjoy seeing you, bud. It's not that I don't like have fond memories of seeing you wrestle. It's just like, I want to see these other guys. I want to see these other guys closing out shows. Not that I don't want to watch you wrestle and see you perform and have really good matches. It's just, I want to see that changing of the guard. I don't want to see you coming back and being in the main spotlight anymore.
I understand that, but I'm saying from my point of view, would I like to see Shinsuke and Bobby Roode and Finn Balor and Samoa Joe, the last guys in the match, and take it to people like Braun Strowman and stuff? Yes. But with the way these characters have been built up, at least with Bobby Roode, because he's just fresh, and the only person he's beaten on a pay-per-view so far is Dolph Ziggler. Between that and Shinsuke initially coming in hot and losing to people like Jinder Mahal, I view it as a matter of, would I like to see them closing it out? Yes. But with the way creative has booked them to this point, it's not a good time to have them be the guys closing out the show. Because like I said, then you'd have someone like Shinsuke Nakamura, who lost to Jinder Mahal twice, going on and taking it to people who are Hall of Famers and guaranteed Hall of Famers and monsters like Braun Strowman. I would like to see that. But storyline-wise, they're not really at that point yet.
You're using Jinder Mahal as a crutch to hurt my argument against why Bobby Roode. And that doesn't, like... You can use that to hinder Shinsuke, but that doesn't explain the treatment of Balor, Joe, and Roode.
With Roode, like I said, the only person that he's really gone up against and won, that's like a big name, is Dolph Ziggler. He's fresh into the WWE main roster.
But this is a moment where you build that character by having him stand up against these stronger people.
And have a strong showing against
it's a squandered opportunity.
14-time champion Triple H.
We've gotta move on from this because we're taking way too long on this. I'm gonna close this out. Big Stupid with 100 bit chips. Tip says, how do you expect?
Exactly.
Nope. Read the whole comment. Because he's being sarcastic. How do you expect WWE to be able to have a lot of guys in one match and have them all look strong? Come on, Murpho. Cough. War Games.
Yeah.
Cough.
War Games was a one fall finish thing. Survivor Series and an elimination thing. Guys have to be eliminated.
It doesn't matter.
And it's basic.
You can still make the guys look strong and have a run before they get eliminated. None of these guys had a run.
But they did. You're just not focusing on that part. You're focusing on the part that two guys got beat one after the other, and the other two guys didn't have that impressive of a win, but they were beaten by multiple world champions.
They didn't have a run. A run is having strong momentum, looking like they got their stuff in, looking like they were being resilient. Instead, they had some pairings with some guys and had some even stuff, some technical wrestling stuff. They didn't have some really good
took out
stuff.
everyone on the Raw team at one point. How is that not a run? He went around and he hit everyone with a move, knocking everyone out with the exception of Braun Strowman, who then caught him and
But at the end of that match, when the match is over, did you say, wow, Shinsuke looked really good in that match?
I think he did.
I don't think so.
All right.
But we're just going to have to agree to disagree. That's the end of Survivor Series and War Games. And when we tally up all the predictions, we basically... Depends on what you count.
It doesn't matter.
If we're counting Raw versus SmackDown, and the ab-off, I won by one. If we're not counting
those two, you still won by one.
Those two, I won by one. If we're not counting Shawn Michaels versus Gargano, it's a tie and it's championship rules. So,
I blame The Miz.
And still, champ, longest reigning, holding on. When's the next event is now Clash of Champions, I believe December 17th, correct?
Yeah.
So that'll be the next time we'll see if this championship can get taken off of me.
One other thing that you reminded me of that I wanted to point out quickly, with you saying longest reigning.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Lesnar is the longest reigning champion for the last 4 years.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. Part-timer Brock Lesnar, who has defended his title 1, 2, 3 times now since WrestleMania, and it's almost time for WrestleMania again, is now longest reigning champion in 4 years.
It's another reason why, I love it's another thing I say, I love seeing these guys come back, but, I'm really getting fatigued. I don't want, I think that's a fair enough word to use. I'm really getting fatigued of seeing them closing out shows, being in the main event, having the championships.
I understand, I agree. And I just want to say quickly, like I said, I don't feel as upset about it because I feel like with the booking perspective and all that, I don't think it was as bad of a thing because the booking of these wrestlers needs to be better if you want them to be the main event of the shows.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just how things are.
Anyway, in other WWE news from this week, there were some debuts, which you can talk about on Raw and SmackDown.
Yep. On Raw, you had the return of Paige and her, I guess, pals joining up with her.
Paige and pals.
Yeah,
I like
basically.
that. It sounds like a Saturday morning
better
cartoon
than
show.
when her, Becky, and Charlotte tried calling themselves the Submission Sorority. That did not go over well.
You know, I was just thinking, it's like Paige and Pals. That could be a Saturday morning cartoon, or if you're thinking about it, a show that belongs on another network that you have to pay to get.
And it will star such people as Brad Maddox and Xavier Woods.
I don't want to go that far.
Yep. Anyway, but yeah, she showed up with her two buddies, Sonya Deville from NXT, who I have been a big fan of for a while now, and Mandy Rose, who has shown up on NXT every now and then and is pretty good, but it's also a kind of thing of I looked at him, why are you guys friends? Maybe Paige and Sonya, I could get it, but Mandy, why are you guys? Okay. Whatever. But yeah, she showed up with the two of them. So, two NXT superstars made their debut that night. And then the following night, SmackDown went up to Raw and we're like, hey, could we forgot to do our homework. Could we copy yours? And Raw was like, yeah, just make sure you change it a little bit so it's not obvious. Yep. And they had Ruby Riott debut from NXT with Sarah Logan from the Mae Young Classic, and who is the other person they debuted? Oh yeah, and Liv Morgan from NXT. And it's cool. I'm glad to see Ruby Riot's up on the main roster. I'm glad to see they're doing something with Sonya Deville. I'm real happy they're doing something with Sarah Logan because she's. I do
like Liv Morgan. I kind of enjoy her work, and I'm glad to see Paige back. Long awaited. She needs to be back. With that whole situation with Del Rio and the suspension and everything, it kind of sucked because we're losing Paige, and Paige is one of the best performers out there right now, and she's had a rough last 12 months, and we make jokes sometimes, I apologize for those. I don't mean to be harsh. She really has had it rough, and she hasn't deserved the treatment she's gotten over the last year. And I'm glad that she's back, and I hope that now we can move forward and we can enjoy watching her compete. And I hope that more WWE Women's or Raw Women's Championships are in her future.
We'll see. Hopefully they are, but you never know. And I mean, I don't feel too bad making a joke like that after WWE let the Usos get away with making a joke about that twice.
That's fair.
On live TV.
Well, to be honest, the writers maybe put that in, or maybe they allowed them to ad lib, and the Usos probably went to Woods and was probably like, "Are you okay with this?" And knowing Austin, he was probably like, "If it's gonna get a pop, I'm for it."
Yeah. But yeah, Big Super, that's exactly it. Somebody did a side by side, and it was Paleface Leader with Brunette Badass and Pretty Blonde versus Paleface Leader, Brunette Badass, Pretty Blonde. That's exactly what I was making with the joke of, oh, can I copy your homework?
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's going somewhere. Maybe there's actually something to that, or maybe WWE is just, I don't know.
I mean, all of them realistically deserve the spotlight, so
they all deserve spots in the main roster.
Yeah.
Yes. There was also a title change on Raw, which I don't know how to take it. I didn't watch it. How did you happen to catch how the fans reacted? Because I feel like cascade of boos is probably what would have happened.
Yeah, I did not get to watch it, but I know that Roman Reigns defeated The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship, making Roman Reigns the newest Grand Slam champion in WWE, which he is now the second member of the Shield to do that.
Rollins is the only one who hasn't done it.
Yep, and all he needs to do is win that title that's around Reigns' waist, and he'll have done it too. But I think part of the reason they're doing it is apparently Shawn Michaels and The Miz are going to be heading on to the Marine 6. So there you go.
Yeah, I just feel like I can imagine that people didn't I didn't watch Raw, but I can imagine that the fans might not have liked that live, because it's the last thing they want to see is Roman take a title off of somebody when they're just trying to build goodwill up for him with the Shield.
I would have preferred to see someone else take the title.
I would have been fine with seeing Seth win it.
I would have been fine with seeing Seth win it. I would have been fine with seeing someone like maybe Jason Jordan.
Yeah,
maybe. I would like to see Bray Wyatt, but I highly doubt that would happen, because then
they need to do some serious retooling with Bray Wyatt's character before they put him in that situation again. Yeah. He's had a brutal year.
Well, that's how you start building him up. You have him become a champion and start.
That's the Jinder Mahal way of building a character, and we saw how that worked out.
No.
You don't just slap a title on somebody and hope they develop a new personality, or tweak their character.
They don't need to develop a new personality for him. They just need to build him up of having wins.
That's different than just giving him the title.
Well, I'm not saying just give it to him right away. I'm saying I would like to see a program with him winning the title, as opposed to it just being slapped on Roman. But anyway.
But it doesn't look like they had the time to do that, because they had to get Miz off TV. But I'll be excited. I'll miss Miz while he's off TV. I'll be excited to see him back.
That actually reminds me of one thing that I wanted to point out that I thought was hilarious. Is one of the things that Miz was saying about the United States champion Baron Corbin is that the Miz is working overtime to make the WWE Intercontinental Championship important and prestigious, while the United States Championship is working overtime to make its champion important and prestigious.
Yeah, that was a great line.
And also pointing out that you've only defended the title twice since you've won it, And I wanted to point out, hey, Miz, you hadn't defended the title once in the time it took Baron Corbin to defend it twice. And it was still a while before that since you had last defended it. So I don't think you really need to be talking about people defending their titles because you haven't been doing that. And now that he has, he's lost his title.
Mm-hmm. All right. But yeah, that happened. And then the last piece of news I want to touch on WWE-wise is that Batista is apparently in talks to potentially return full-time
Okay.
to WWE.
All right.
You don't care about that?
I've never really been a big fan of Batista.
Honestly, after seeing him in when he last had his run, he came in at the wrong time because Daniel Bryan was white hot. And it was before the first Guardians movie came out.
Yep.
Now that Guardians 1 has come out, Guardians 2 has come out, he's been Inspector, and I've seen his work in Blade Runner. Like, I think my opinion on Batista is completely turned, and like I would be excited to see him come back, and I think he would actually finally get cheered as a face, and like what they wanted to do in 2014 would actually work now. So I would be excited to see Batista come back.
Well, my thing with Batista is I like Batista as an actor. But the Batista character for WWE, I've never really been a big fan of. And so it's a matter of Batista's coming back. Okay. We'll see what happens. I'm not overly excited or anything. I'll see what happens. But I'd rather see him doing more movies.
Because I've enjoyed him more movies. I'm sure he'll do more movies because he is a great actor. Like, he is not in the new Blade Runner for long, but his character is just, he sticks with you throughout the entire film, his character, and you're thinking about his character and his performance the entire film, even though he's not in it for that long.
All right.
So just goes to speak it to like how good he is as an actor.
I mean, if he comes back, great. I mean, I'd rather see some other people come back to WWE, but whatever.
And Big Super says I disagree. He came in at a good time, but they completely boned him by making him a face. Just another guy to make Roman strong. I guess that would be if he came in now. I hope not. I guess I could agree with that. Like maybe if Batista came in as a heel and they built it as Daniel Bryan versus Batista for the title with Batista as a heel, that would have gone well.
Yeah.
But WWE just didn't make the right decisions there with his character, unfortunately.
They did not.
So that's all for wrestling, and we're gonna transition over now to the Vidya games. Well, actually, Big Stupid is asking, did either of us see 24/7 Goldberg or 365 Kevin Owens? I did not.
I have not. I plan on watching the 365 Kevin Owens. I do not plan on watching the 24/7 Goldberg.
So now we're going to transition over to Vidya games. But we're going to do it quickly by mentioning something wrestling related. And that's that season 4 of Supercard has started.
Yeah.
And one of the cards involved in the first event of Supercard season 4 is you can get a monster level card, Gobbledygooker. The Gobbledygooker is a card. It is a thing. And since it is the highest tier monster level, that means it is in the highest tier currently in the game, which means about 90 to 95% of the cards are worse than him.
Yep.
That's a thing. So if you want to get the Gobbledygooker, I don't know if the event is a weekend-long event or if it was a faction event. But, yeah, if you want to get the Gobbledygooker, go ahead and download WWE Supercard for Thanksgiving. And then moving on... Overwatch news.
Yeah, just wanted to get in here quickly, let you guys know. The only real news this week is Blizzard World, which Blizzard has announced.
Looks amazing.
At BlizzCon, I believe it was. Yeah, they've announced that it's going to be that it is now officially on the PTR of Overwatch. So if you have it for PC and can get on the PTR, you'll be able to play in Blizzard World and see how that's like.
Like this guy.
Only a little bit of Overwatch news this week.
PC Master Race. I'm actually hoping to get some good deals on PC stuff. I'm hoping to pull the trigger on a second monitor and a new case because my case is bursting at the seams, kind of. So a new tower will help me fit all my computer bits in there. Plus, I'm due for a new monitor. My monitor's like only 1080p. I've had it for almost 10 years, and it's had a dead pixel on it since I bought it. So it'd be nice to have a new monitor on there.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And then I I think after I did that, I technically would only be a graphics card and power supply away from putting my old computer back together and technically having two computers. So then once that 1080 Ti goes down in price from $800 to maybe something reasonable, I'll buy that and a power supply and be able to do a 2 PC stream setup.
Well, 'tis the
if I ever get to
season.
stream again. Yeah, right? No, I don't think the deals are good enough there. Plus, the monitor I want is pretty pricey, so I don't think I'm going to have the dough to drop on that stuff. And yes, Big Steve, we talked about that in last week's episode. That's actually what we're moving on to now. This is our big gaming story. Battlefront 2 drama continues. As we had mentioned last week, we closed out the Battlefront 2 saga by saying that they had temporarily suspended microtransactions.
Thanks to Big Daddy Disney laying down the law.
Yeah, just whipping out his Mickey D. And just
I was gonna say belt, but okay.
Good God, the images. I don't want them in my brain, and they exist.
EA, bend over the desk.
So
I'm gonna get goofy up in here.
Oh, good God, please stop.
You started it.
Stop it. Just stop it.
Don't start what you can't finish.
No.
That's what Disney always says.
That's what Mickey said to EA. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, Disney, no.
You're gonna stop those microtransactions.
We have derailed, and I can't bring us back onto the tracks. Oh, Christ.
You hear me, pal?
Stop. I'm trying to stop, please. Oh man. The Killed Kid 92, thank you so much for the host. Yep. Big stupid. And now this video has been demonetized. Yep, this is not getting ad revenue on YouTube, and we are definitely getting that E rating on iTunes and Google Play. Oh God.
Well, earning that E.
So what happened is Battlefront 2, they said they were temporarily stopping microtransactions, which means it might eventually come back, which worries me. But now that it's been a week, the game's been out about a week, sales figures have come out, and this doesn't take into consider digital downloads, which people have been purchasing games digitally more now than before, so who knows if it's this bad. But sales of hard copies of Battlefront 2 were 50% lower in its first week than Battlefront 1.
Yep.
From 2 years ago.
Well, that's what happens when you mess up like that. I actually saw a meme the other day, which perfectly sums up everything, which is, it was an image of Luke Skywalker, and he says, Vader's behind that door, and then it goes to an empty corridor, and then it goes back to him and goes, oh, I haven't unlocked him yet, sorry.
I have heard people say that it's not as hard to get all the heroes, but apparently the progression system is awful because it is a grind to get those loot boxes to open them up, and like you could be facing people who have like a lot of the stuff you get in loot boxes, like damage bonuses and reductions and stuff like that, and extra abilities for your heroes. So like you can be getting stomped by people who have played enough to get that, or you're playing people who have bought the digital deluxe edition and it's technically still pay to win. Because they've paid and gotten these extra weapons that you don't have access to heroes that you don't have access to yet, and access to like damage and weapon mods and extra abilities that you don't have access to.
Just keep in mind, when it comes to these things, it's okay for PvE. It's not okay for PvP.
Yeah. And the situation just keeps getting worse for EA because after investigation for about a week, the Belgian government has decided that this microtransaction system, this loot box system, is gambling.
Mm-hmm. That's
because
a whole kind of issue.
Because it affects gameplay. You need to buy it, and it will affect addictive personalities, and it will get children hooked to gambling.
And on top of that, Hawaii is also investigating it, so it could be deemed that way.
So come in the U.S. So very bad news. I mean, I feel like this needed to happen because loot boxes and microtransactions of this sort were getting way out of control. But it sucks that the ESRB couldn't step in and make this change first. We had to have the governments of the world basically come in and smack the developers around. But it's finally happened. And you know what? It makes sense because, it is a form of gambling. Like, you don't know, like, you could be getting something that's cosmetic that has, like, really no impact on the game itself, or something that has complete impact on the game. Plus, there's the fact that EA did not tell people about this system until people came out, were like, what the hell is this?
Exactly.
So, I mean, people have mentioned, like, again, I go back to what culture they were mentioning, how it's kind of a slippery slope because, if you talk this way about microtransactions in video games with loot boxes, it's randomized. You're also looking at, like, would this then affect trading card games and stuff like that? Because technically when you buy a booster pack or you buy a booster box, there's a chance you can get some rares or some of the really super rare cards that make things good. But then again, you can also argue that in the really good card games, you don't necessarily need those cards. They might be really valuable, but you can win without those cards. And also, like, you could argue that maybe the chances of those are fair, whereas maybe the chances in this progression system are not fair. Fair.
That's a lot of what it is. Is a lot of that of the card games. It's you would like to get certain cards, but you could still make pretty effective decks and stuff like that with whatever cards you get, as opposed to this, where you could get things that give you a huge advantage over other people.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
but you might not get it.
It's kind of like with the Star Wars loot box system. It'd almost be like getting a card in a card game that's like super super rare, or even that, like, maybe not everybody would be able to get easily once they start playing the game, where it's like, okay, I play this card at the start of the game, all of my cards do it, like, deal, like, say you're playing Magic, like, all my cards deal an extra 2 life when they deal damage to you, and I get to play that at the start of the game. That's kind of like what I equate it to.
Here's a little bit of a better way of saying it with Magic. That's like being able to play and use door to nothingness on the first turn.
Yeah.
There you go.
You might want to explain what that card does to people who don't know.
It's a card where literally the ability when you use it is target player loses the game. So, yeah. But
as far as Big Stupid's asking, what are our preference, digital download or hard copy? I used to be hard copy, but now that I've got, like, such little real estate for a game collection, and it's a lot more convenient, and I used to be, like, do PC, and I am a PC gamer, like, on and off. It's the history of that. I prefer digital download. It's easier. I've got the space open on my console. I don't have to go ahead and physically switch the disc. I can just choose a game and start to play it, and I don't have to find a place for all my cases.
Yeah, for me right now, I'm more hard copy, but that's partially because of the fact of I've only got a PS4, got limited space on it, and with the hard copies, unlike with a digital download, I can go, and if I want to and need to, trade it in to help me pay for other things, because I don't really have the money to just go around buying games and things like that. I would like to do digital because I do a lot of my playing on, like, my Vita, and if I want to switch between games, I wouldn't need to switch a disc. I could just switch to whatever and not have to physically do that, which is helpful when I'm somewhere else. But financially and everything, it makes more sense for me to do hard copy. But one thing that I want to get into, which is something that we said we would talk about, that you reminded me of with all government regulation and everything, something that is very important to me, which is the FCC is trying to get rid of net neutrality. Which is an issue. Which is an issue, and especially, in some ways, for people who play video games. Because, for example, let's say you have a PS4 and you want to play Destiny 2. Well, you have to buy Destiny 2. To be able to do everything, you have to get a PlayStation Plus subscription. And if this whole thing goes through and we don't have net neutrality anymore, it basically allows the cable companies that provide you internet and everything to price things however they want. So, for example, if they got rid of net neutrality, they could come up with packages like, all right, well, you're going to pay us, let's say, $70 a month for internet. But if you want to go on social media sites, that's an extra $5 a month. Oh, and if you want entertainment like YouTube and Netflix, you have to pay us an extra $10 a month. Despite what you pay them, you still have to pay us extra money. And if you want to play video games, you have to pay an extra $10 a month for that as well. And they could basically charge you whatever they want.
They can nickel and dime you for everything.
Yes. And they can also throttle your internet speed as well.
Yeah, and this is what we've seen happen in both New Zealand and Portugal. New Zealand and Portugal have gotten rid of or never had net neutrality, and they charge, essentially, if you remember and know what cable TV is like in their packages, where it's like you have to pay an extra fee for the sports package or an extra fee for the movie channel package. It's basically like that,
but
where it's
for
like
the
you
internet.
pay for the internet, and then if you want social media, you pay the social media thing, and then you get unlimited data to use the social media as much as you want, which you can do already, but they're packaging it to make you pay extra for it.
Yeah.
And then they package all the video stuff together, so you have to pay the video stuff. If you want to play games on your phone, there's a games package that allows you to play video games on your phone or on your mobile devices.
Music with things like Spotify and Pandora and things like that, you'd have to pay extra.
Basically,
for that.
ISPs are looking for a way to nickel and dime you and get you to have to pay extra for every little part of the internet you want. And they promise, oh, this means that it'll be faster than ever before, but you're also paying money for it. And also, the dangerous part about this is that if you're paying up for a package that has like Netflix or Hulu on it, and say the next great thing that's better than Netflix and Hulu comes along, but you already have the package that has Netflix and Hulu, you're just going to use Netflix and Hulu because you're paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why would you bother? It stifles potential innovation on the internet and creativity and hurts competition. And also, like, if a cable company decides to do this, where else are you going to go? Because there's only like 4 potentially, if like a merger between AT&T and Time Warner might go on happens. There's 4, maybe 3 major cable and internet companies in this country. Yeah. So you have no choice.
And it's also ridiculous because it's already ridiculously restricted. Like where I live, I have Comcast because my options at my house are Comcast and Verizon. Mm-hmm. Because with Verizon, I could do like satellite TV and things like that. Right down the road from me, and other people in my development, literally like next door to me, have Optimum. But because of contracts between Optimum and Comcast, I'm not allowed to go to Optimum, the cheaper and better option. I'm stuck with Comcast. I have no choice about that. And now I'm going to be told that not only do I not have any other choice other than Comcast, but that they're going to make me start paying more money for services that I already use.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that, like, these companies, they're not just internet companies. They're major corporations that own almost everything. So, like, say Comcast wants to do like packages, like social media packages and video packages and stuff like that, and they want to choose like what you're doing. They own NBC Universal, so stuff that NBC Universal does, they could do a preference. Like, say they want to do a sports package, maybe the sports package they do is for like the NBC Sports app and like all the major sports app. But if you want to do Fox Sports 1, maybe you can't access that, or maybe the streams on Fox Sports 1 app doesn't go as fast.
And to answer you, Big Stupid, you were saying no one owns the internet, how they could do that. Yeah, no one owns the internet, but it's these companies will be given the right to control what they allow you to access through your house. They're providing you the service, and right now, net neutrality means that we have to have access to all data on the internet equally. If this is gotten rid of, that means that these companies will have the choice of what you are allowed and not allowed to see based on what you pay them and everything. It gives them full control over what you're able to access from your house and your phone and everything.
The way that the internet was, there was no ruling on how the internet was going to be policed or treated for the longest time, and then these companies wanted to start doing this with their internet, and so the Obama administration, the FCC under the Obama administration ruled to classify what type of service the internet is, and they ruled it as a Title II, which means it's a utility. Mm-hmm. It's like everybody gets it. It doesn't really belong to anybody. You just pay a company for the right to use it, much like water, much like heat, much like electricity, mm-hmm. and much like a phone service, kind of like landline phone service.
Yeah,
but now these companies want it changed from Title II to Title I, which allows them to charge for these premium packages. And the FCC chairman, who was
a former Verizon lawyer.
A former Verizon lawyer, was appointed to the position by Donald Trump, and Donald Trump came into the office. He is now supporting the change. And the only people who seem to support the change, aside from Republicans in the FCC and in Congress, appear to be just the internet service providers. Yeah. Google and Netflix have both had made statements that claim that they are against mm-hmm. this. The majority of the population do not want net neutrality. So...
Yeah, it's a huge thing, and I mean, another way to kind of give an example of it is with it being utility. We're basically going to be going like how you pay for electricity for your house. That's if they made a change, and with electricity, it were to be treated as, well, not only do you have to pay for all the electricity you use, but if you want to use electricity in your living room, that's going to be an extra $5 a month. If you want to use it in your kitchen, it's going to be an extra $10 a month. Things like that. And
yeah. And
in
we've got a
regards
kitchen
to
package for $5 a month, and we've got the entertaining your guest package of your dining area, your entertainment area or living area for $15 a month.
yeah, and I mean it's also tying it back into games. It's also a matter of, well, you have to buy the game, you have to get the subscription from Sony or Xbox or whatever. You have to pay for the internet, and now you're gonna have to pay another fee on top of that to be able to do these things.
Yeah, and the difference between the internet and cable, like whereas cable like has these packages now, like cable is mostly just for entertainment purposes.
Mhm.
Like like a good analogy that I came up with in my head on how they want to treat this is like, say you move to a new town, and the town's like, great, here's your normal taxes, here's your like you're paying your mortgage on your house, but then like the town goes, in addition to your taxes, to your regular taxes, you have the option to pay additional taxes or fees, like the entertainment package where you can go to out where you pay us $10 a month while you live here to go to the bars, to go to our restaurants. You have $10 mail package where you are allowed to receive and send mail from your mailbox every month for $10.
A local park passage.
Local park, well,
Pass.
that's kind of different because that's actually kind of a thing.
No, yeah.
Some cities and some parks actually do have park passes. They need to pay annually for, but it's also like you also have a shopping package where you're allowed to go to all the little small businesses and shops for $10 a month, and it's because like that's more of a equivalent because it's like the internet isn't so much an entertainment thing; it's so much bigger and involves so much other stuff.
There are people whose careers are relying on it. Yeah,
like me.
It's ridiculous.
So that's the breakdown of net neutrality. You can go to Battle for the Net, by the way.
Battleforthenet.com. It has all the information as to what net neutrality is about, what they're trying to do with it, and who you could contact and how you can contact them. They actually have a direct thing where you could send an email, and then if you want, immediately call Congress to talk with someone.
Yeah, you put down your name, your email, I believe, and then I think maybe your address, and then you can send that, and then there's a generic email that I can send. You can delete it and write your own version of the email, and then after you send the email, you can give them their phone number. They will call you, figure out who your local congressional representative is, and connect you to your local congressional representative for you to call and either leave a message or tell the representative, speak to the either congressional representative or like one of the people on their staff, and voice your complaint and voice your opposition to net neutrality.
Yeah, and if you talk to other people about it who don't really understand, I know I dealt with this recently. My coworker didn't really understand it. He was listening to the radio, and they were trying to explain it as this is a way to try and open it up so that way smaller businesses can try and do it, because then they'll have more control over it. No, that's just a ruse. This is just a way to try and nickel and dime people and basically try to take the internet for themselves and hold it hostage.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for all of that stuff. Did we want to touch on any other video game stuff like the China PUBG thing?
If you want to. I just really wanted to get the whole net neutrality thing across because it is so very important and we need to spread the word about
All right, well,
this.
let's wrap things up. You can talk about the PUBG thing, and then I'll talk about the Dragon Ball FighterZ thing real quick.
PUBG, the developer, has made a deal with China where they are going to, for the Chinese version of the game, add a couple things that are core communist values to the game to make it more appropriate for the audience there, as the government would want in order to get the game access into there, which would include like red banners with communist sayings, stuff like that, appearing in the game in the menus and stuff. So, nothing that big, but yeah, they're making a deal with the Chinese government to get access of the game into China in the Chinese market.
Yeah. I have not, big stupid, tried the new update on PUBG, which allows the vaulting. I want to, because I hear it's made the game so much better. I haven't had a chance to play PUBG in months, actually. I'm currently spending what limited free time I have, and by limited free time I mean literally half an hour at a time, like not even long enough to even stream, of just leveling up a character, a hunter in Destiny on PC in Destiny 2. But I want to try the new PUBG update. I really want to get my hands on it. I can't wait. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to talk about is that a new character has been revealed with a trailer for Dragon Ball Fighter Z, or Dragon Ball Fighters, which comes out in January, I believe. And that is Gotenks, the fused version of Goten and Trunks, the sons of Goku and Vegeta. It is their normal base Saiyan form and their Super Saiyan form. I don't believe I remember seeing a ghost attack from them, but they did have their ring donut attack.
Oh, nice.
So they had that in there. Looks cool, looks exciting. Glad to see another character in there from Dragon Ball Z, and more from the Buu arc. Notable characters that I don't think we've seen trailers of is I don't think we've seen Piccolo in game yet. We've only seen Gohan from Super Saiyan 2 Cell Saga. We haven't seen Ultimate Gohan, Buu Saga Gohan. And the only Majin Buu we've seen is Fat Buu. We haven't seen any Evil Buu or Super Buu.
I heard they announced Kid Buu.
I didn't see Kid Buu. Maybe they have, but I haven't seen him.
I think it's fairly recent. I remember hearing that they announced Kid Buu.
Yeah, also, no Deborah. If there are PyCon fans, the World Tournament, no PyCon.
No.
We do have Yamcha and Tien, though. I'm trying to think any other characters of significance. Future Trunks is there. The androids are both there. Android 16 is there. No 19, no 20, no Future Gohan, no King Cold. Ginyu is in as along with the Ginyu Force. No Zarbon though. What about Boo-hoo? Very funny, Big Stupid. You're hilarious. Nappa's in. Nothing on Raditz. Yeah, I think that's all the major players that I can think of.
Now, here's one thing that I want your opinion on. It's related to Dragon Ball Z, but not just the game. Something that I always thought about. In the whole Buu saga, they did all the training and the fusion and stuff like that to try and get someone powerful enough to beat Buu. Now, would it work if they did something like, I don't know, have Goten and Trunks do the fusion dance to become Gotenks, and then have Goku and Vegeta do the fusion dance to become Gogeta as opposed to Vegito? And then while they're in that fused form, what would happen if they then, each one of them, put one of those fusion earrings on, which is supposed to be permanent, and put that together?
Well, the thing with... that's kind of confusing, right? Well, the thing with all fusions, even the Potara, is that they have to be of equal strength. So we don't know if Gogeta would be stronger than Gotenks.
True.
And also, you don't know this because you haven't watched Dragon Ball Super, but Vegito returns in Dragon Ball Super. There's a big bad villain who is like basically immortal, and so really good. You should watch it. It involves Future Trunks. And Goku and Shin, the Supreme Kai, gives Goku and Vegeta the Pataras, and Vegeta, he's like, I don't want to friggin' do that again. But it's like, well, we all die and everything dies if we don't do this. So they put the rings on and they go Super Saiyan Blue, which is like the Super Saiyan version of the God form.
Okay.
And start kicking the crap out of the villain. But then after like 5 or 10 minutes, the earrings break and they defuse. And they've changed the rules to where the Potaras are only permanent if Kais use them. If non-Kais use the rings, there's a 1 hour time limit on the earrings before the earrings break. But if you use an insane amount of power like Super Saiyan Blue, you'll burn through it even quicker and they break real quick. So Super Saiyan Blue is so strong that it broke the earrings in like 5 minutes.
Interesting. All right.
So
the more you know.
Yes. So with that little bit of Dragon Ball Z knowledge and information, we are going to call it the end of episode 31 of Super Grapple Bros. We talked about a little bit of everything here. We did wrestling news, wrestling review, video game news, talked about a little bit of politics and net neutrality stuff, which has an impact on gaming, and we talked about some Dragon Ball Z, some anime stuff.
Net neutrality, very important.
Very important, guys. Please go to battleforthenet.com and make your voices heard. It is very important that we try to stop the internet from being changed forever.
Yeah.
Once again, You can catch us live on Twitch every Friday or Saturday, for the most part, when we do the podcast. We also end up on demand on Twitch each episode when the live stream is over, so you can watch us on demand there. You can also 24 hours later, because that's how Twitch handles its affiliates thing. They get 24-hour exclusivity. You can catch us in video on demand on YouTube at youtube.com/LMurphoReal. On Twitch, it's twitch.tv/L_Murpho. You can catch us on audio version on Google Play, iTunes, SoundCloud, and lots of other places where podcasts can be heard. Look for Super Grapple Bros.
And subscribe.
Very important to rate, review, and subscribe. Do not forget to engage in the conversation with us. Let us know via comments on YouTube what you enjoy. If you are watching us live on Twitch, feel free to join in the chat. As you heard, we engage with Airly, Felix, Big Stupid, lots of different people in this podcast, and we do enjoy chatting with people in the chat while we're doing the podcast.
Yep.
You can also get in touch with us at supergrapplebros@gmail.com. If you have any topics, questions, trivia that you want to see if we know, please send it over and let us know. We appreciate it all. Also, if you want to know when we go live, follow me at L_Murpho on Twitter. He is DMurph_42. We normally will post whenever we go live, and when we find out when we're going to go live, I try to get a tweet out for that as well, so that you guys have at least a heads up. You can also check out my Discord server, my personal Discord server. If you're watching this on Twitch, it should be down below. Join that, because I also send out a post and try to keep people updated on when we're going to go live on Twitch. So that's everything that we've covered on how to get in touch with us. That is episode 31 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Murpho.
I've been DMurph.
And until we see you guys again, take care. Deuces.
Peace out.
Deuce. Catch you guys later. Net neutrality. Battle for the net.
Seriously.
Very important. Catch you later, everybody.
Bye.
Shut up and sit down.